The Las Vegas Raiders have signed former Patriots wide receiver and former USFL star Isaiah Zuber, and they have also placed Johnathan Hankins and Trayvon Mullen on the PUP list, physically unable to perform list, along with Bilal Nichols, who was a big signing in free agency at defensive tackle. And this is huge news. And I want to first of all say that everything that I'm about to tell you, I think, opens the door and makes Ndakmong Suh more necessary and more mandatory and more inevitable, in my opinion. Somebody is going to have to be signed at defensive tackle. That is going to happen for sure. Whether or not it's Suh, who knows, but it seems likely because of all the talks that have been happening. I kind of laid off it because I figured, oh man, it's just talks. It's just hype. But now that I see this happening, now that I see Johnathan Hankins on the PUP list along with Bilal Nichols, let's first start with them two and then talk about Suh and then also get into Trayvon Mullen, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Isaiah Zuber as well, who used to play on the New England Patriots in 2020. So here's the thing going on with the physically unable to perform list. You got to understand what exactly is happening here. This isn't inevitable. It isn't like these guys are for sure going to be done for the whole entire season, but we do open up 3 more roster spots by putting these guys on this list. But keep in mind, around the same time, I believe like July 25th, the Raiders had placed Divine Diablo and Isaiah Johnson on the physically unable to perform list. So it's just showing you a contrast. Last year, Isaiah Johnson didn't play at all, but Divine Diablo ended up coming back after a few weeks and playing a decent amount for the Raiders. So what does this mean? This basically means that these people are not counting against the roster. They're not going to participate in training camp as of now, but after at least one practice, each of these players can still come back. However, if any of these players, if somebody is still on the PUP list by the start of the regular season, then they have to sit out 6 weeks. So if it's rolling around, we're entering that game against the Chargers, and these 3 guys are still on that list, that means they're not playing at all until week 6. And then afterwards, the Raiders have about like 5 weeks to try to activate them, and there's some other mumbo jumbo that goes on there. But basically, if they're still on this list by week 1, they're out 6 weeks, and they can come back at any time, just like Divine Diablo came back last year. So it's not done, but you do understand that you have 3 more roster spots open, so why not try some people out? Why not bring some people along during training camp? Because maybe these guys might not be ready. Who knows, right? Maybe it's going to take some time for them to be ready and participate in training camp, so you might as well put them on the PUP list. And that's what I think is happening here. The Raiders are anticipating that maybe these guys will come back at some point, but maybe it might be during preseason, not exactly week 1, but hopefully right before week 1. That's why they're putting them on this list rather than anything else. So they're banking on that, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they sign some people in training camp, someone like Suh, and then make a decision about whether or not they need certain players. Now, I think Johnathan Hankins feels a need for the Raiders. They don't have a veteran nose tackle. You got Neil Farrell Jr. there as the rookie, and Bilal Nichols. He was a big free agent signing. I mean, it's almost $6 million guaranteed for 2 years. He's going to at least be on this team this year. We gave him all the money, and potentially even next year. He still has a decent amount of money, dead money next year. Trayvon Mullen, what I'm going to say is, like, really, this really hurts him in terms of competing for that starting outside cornerback spot. We know the Raiders like Nate Hobbs. You know he's likely going to be starting in the slot. Now, Trayvon Mullen, I assumed was going to start on the outside with Rock Ya-Sin, but Anthony Averett, big free agent signing, $4.5 million guaranteed. When you think about it, you have to ask yourself, is Averett going to start on the outside? It's going to be Rock Ya-Sin, Averett, and Nate Hobbs because they're going to have more reps, more timing. Even if Mullen comes back after a few weeks, maybe not 100%, but maybe if he comes back before week 1, he can beat one of them out, during the season. Who knows? But it does hurt him in terms of competition. Rock Ya-Sin's on a 1-year deal after the trade with Unique Ngakoue. Averett's on a 1-year deal, free agent signing, and Mullen on a 1-year deal the last year of his rookie contract from 2019 when he was drafted in the 2nd round. So all of our cornerbacks, our starters, are on 1-year deals besides Nate Hobbs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes up. If possibly maybe we don't see Mullen starting on the outside at cornerback that much this year. But as long as he's on the team, that's great because he would be amazing depth if that is the case, and potentially even a starter and maybe even taking over at some time, because I've been impressed with him when he's healthy, to be completely honest with you. Now, Isaiah Zuber, was signed, a wide receiver. Is he gonna take Devontae's spot? No, I'm just kidding. No, but here's the thing: we do need some more depth at wide receiver. Keelan Cole, I have heard, is in a good position to start. Him and Mac Hollins. I would say Mac Hollins has the upper hand when you're talking about, for sure starting at wide receiver. Demarcus Robinson's obviously going to be in the mix as well. But we don't know for sure who's going to be the starter on the outside, but we do need some depth at the bottom of the roster. Tyron Johnson competing there, people like Dylan Stoner, DJ Turner from last year. And now we have Isaiah Zuber, who played well in USFL and has spent some time with the Patriots. He was actually part of the Patriots in 2020. However, he only had 3 targets, and if I'm not mistaken, he's only had 3 targets in his entire NFL career. So still a young guy. Josh McDaniels, this coaching staff is familiar with him. They know him, thought it was necessary to bring him in. Maybe they saw something at USFL that really impressed them, and they think this guy could maybe shine, or maybe he is just somebody who can help the practice squad, scout team, or be a camp body. I don't know. But they are making this roster move because you have space. They recently got rid of Stanford Samuels. That opened up a spot. Now you signed Isaiah Zuber. That takes up that spot. And you have 3 more spots. Who's it going to be? What's going to happen? They're going to sign somebody. I mean, it could be somebody that we don't know. It could be Ndakmong Suh. But if you got 3 spots and you have some cash, what the Raiders have, $19 million cap money in cash, you're going to use that cash. You're going to spend that cash. Maybe you want to roll some over to next year, but you could play around, at least use $9 million and roll $10 million over to next year, right? You could do something like that. So I have a feeling they're going to spend. At least think about it. And even if they don't spend, you're going to get some cheap guys, some guys who maybe cost $1 million a year. You're going to want to bring at least 3 more bodies in just to compete, just to have a full room there. So either way, I'm excited about this in some ways to see what new people can come in. But I'm also, I feel bad for Bilal Nichols. He was really excited to be a part of this Raiders team, getting his first big contract after spending time with the Bears. And then Johnathan Hankins, he was testing the market out, thought he would come home, just return to the Raiders after playing on a 1-year deal. And he's kind of going back-to-back 1-year deals. He's at the latter, latter part of his 20s, maybe early 30s, so kind of harder to get a bunch of cash on a long-term deal, but he played really well for us, has been a good leader on this team, so kind of sucks that he's not ready to go and ready to go in training camp. And obviously with Trayvon Mullen, 2nd-round draft pick, you want him to be healthy. Sucks that he had foot surgery and really had to sit out pretty much all of last year, right? All of last year. So I wish these guys could compete, but at the same time, it's conflicting as a fan. You're also thinking, like, what other people could come in, like, could there be some interesting competition or interesting signings? But I think that's just the nature of being a news head. You always want a new signing, like, I'm hoping you just want transactions just because you want news, because you're mainly excited for this upcoming season, which I'm excited for. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel for more Raiders content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.